The movie opens with 15-year-old Ava waking up in the dead of night to the sound of intruders breaking into her home. Their plan is to take out her father, a guy who's as tough as nails and notorious for his not-so-legal activities. As the intruders get closer, Ava thinks back to all the combat skills her dad drilled into her. Grabbing a knife, she charges at the attackers in the lobby, because what better time to put those family lessons to use? Unfortunately, the goons get the jump on her dad and take him down right in front of her. But her dad knew this day might come and had trained Ava from childhood to deal with the world's harshest realities. So she picks up a gun, probably thinking, guess it's time to take out the trash. And she does just that, one goon at a time, turning her fear into pure determination. Fast forward 12 years, and Ava's fresh out of rehab, ready to start a new chapter. This time, she's about to marry Derek. But Derek's dad, Robert, isn't exactly sending out the wedding invites just yet. He's worried Ava might relapse, especially since her past and family background are as mysterious as the Colonel's secret recipe. Still, Derek is rock solid in his trust for Ava. After tying the knot in a beautiful church ceremony, no intruders this time, the happy couple heads to Spain for their honeymoon, staying at Derek's childhood vacation home. They're living it up, enjoying thrilling activities like thunder truck rides, jet skiing, and seaplane excursions. At this rate, their honeymoon is turning into an extreme sports competition. But hey, they're also getting their share of romantic moments. So it's all about balance, right? One evening, they're at a charming seaside restaurant, lost in a romantic conversation and soaking in the ocean view. It's all smooth sailing until Derek excuses himself to the restroom, telling Ava to stay put, like she's really going to run off with her plate. While Ava's taking in the serene beauty of the sea, a stranger named Manny approaches with a charming smile. He compliments her and tries to strike up a conversation. Ava, being cool as ever, casually mentions she's on her honeymoon, probably thinking, "Buddy, you're charming, but I'm married, not dead." Just as they're chatting, Derek comes back and introduces himself. Manny, eager to play tour guide, offers to show them the island's hidden gems and even promises an exciting zipline adventure. Derek hesitates because who wouldn't after meeting a random guy in a restaurant who's suddenly your best friend? But Ava, ever the adventurer, nudges him with a grin. "Come on, what's the worst that could happen?" Famous last words, right? After a bit of persuasion, Derek agrees and they head to the club. But when they arrive, the atmosphere is more electric than Manny described, with pulsating lights and infectious energy. Derek's probably thinking, this isn't the honeymoon I signed up for, but here we go. John, the biggest gangster in town, spots Ava and decides to start dancing with her. At first, Ava and Derek think it's no big deal, but then John starts getting a little too handsy, and Derek's not having it. He tries to pull Ava away, but John's not too thrilled about that either. In a fit of anger, John throws up a punch at Derek. Now, Ava's not the type to just stand by and watch. She's furious. She goes into full action mode, and before you know it, she's taking down John's men like they're bowling pins. Everyone around is just standing there, jaws on the floor, totally stunned. Seeing things get out of hand, Manny quickly grabs both of them and make a run for it. Why? Because I know exactly how dangerous John is. This guy's got politicians and police in his pocket like they're his business cards. Once we're safely in a taxi, Manny turned to Ava and say, "The guy you just beat up? He's not your average Joe. This guy's dangerous and meaner than a junkyard dog. You two better stay away from that side of the island." But hey, I gotta admit, Ava's fighting skills really impressed me. That's when Ava starts reminiscing about how her dad turned her into a top-level MMA fighter. Flash forward to the next scene. Ava and Derek are crashed out in their room, catching some much-needed Z's. Meanwhile, outside, Manny knocking on their door, telling them it's time to hit the road and catch the Jeep line. Derek's all pumped up and ready to go. So we all head to this beautiful hill station. They pick the smallest Jeep line because, let's be real, Ava's not exactly thrilled about the whole idea. But first, Manny go ahead and start the lining, trying to show her it's not so bad. Ava's still nervous, but after a little coaxing from Derek, she decides to give it a shot. And guess what? She ends up having a blast. Derek jumps in next, and he's having the time of his life too. Finally, Manny takes them to the biggest Jeep line there. It's about 3 miles long, the mother of all lines. Manny goes first, of course, and then Derek nudges Ava to give it a try. But Ava? She takes one look at that monster line and says, "Yeah, no thanks, I'm good." So Derek moves ahead, but after going a bit further, his vine starts breaking. Manny rushes over to help, grabbing hold of Derek, but Ava is freaking out, watching the whole thing. Despite Manny's efforts, he can't hold on to Derek, and Derek ends up falling. Ava, in full-on panic mode, bolts into the forest to find him. After what feels like forever, she finally tracks him down. Derek's a mess. He's clearly shaken up, and his leg is seriously messed up. Ava helps Derek up just as the ambulance arrives. But Manny? He's already made a run for it. The paramedics load Derek into the ambulance, and Ava tries to hop in with him, but the driver stops her, saying, "Sorry, ma'am, hospital policy. You can't ride along due to insurance reasons." Ava isn't taking no for an answer, so after some back and forth, they tell her she has to follow them separately. Determined, Ava grabs an employee's bike and starts tailing the ambulance. But the thing is, that ambulance is speeding like it's in a race, and after a close call, Ava loses sight of it. Eventually, she makes it to the hospital, rushes to the reception, and asks about Derek. The receptionist looks it up and says, "Sorry, no one named Derek has been admitted here." Ava's freaking out because the card they had was definitely from this hospital. She insists, but the receptionist won't budge. So Ava starts hitting up all the nearby hospitals, asking if anyone's seen Derek, but he's nowhere to be found. Defeated, Ava heads to the local police station and files a missing person report for Derek. The next day, Derek's parents and sister arrive on the island, and they meet up with Ava, trying to calm her down. They all head to the police station, where the officer working the case listens to Ava's story. The officer then drops a bombshell. The ambulance crews around here are pretty sharp, sometimes too sharp. They've been known to kidnap wealthy people and demand ransom. But since you haven't gotten any calls, this might be something different. They arrive at the hill station and ask Mint what happened there the day before. Mint responds, "I don't know anything. No one named Ava or Derek came here yesterday. I've never seen this girl before." Ava, angered by his response, tries to hit him. Mint quickly runs away, and the officer tells Ava, "You can't threaten people like this. It's against the rules." The officer then takes Ava to the police station and shows her a video of the club fight, saying, "You were under the influence of drugs when you attacked John's people," seriously threatening her life. "You didn't mention any of this to me." Then the officer says that the man you've messed with is the biggest gangster on the island, and the officer accuses Ava, saying that she conspired to take her husband's property and killed him. The officer becomes very angry with Ava and declares that she will conduct the investigation herself. Later, when Ava returns home, her father, in fear, tells her that she might have had his son killed for the property. Ava responds, "I want you to know that money doesn't matter to me. I just loved your son." After saying this, she goes inside, and the next day, Derek's entire family leaves the island. Ava then goes to a hill station where Min is lining up some girls. As he's about to send them off, Ava confronts him, hanging out with him until she demands to know if they had finished the task. She was recording the entire conversation on camera. Initially, Mint doesn't confess, but when Ava threatens to throw him off the edge, he admits that he did everything on Manny's advice and got paid for it, but he claims not to know anything else. Ava records the confession and sends the video to the officer. However, the officer catches Ava and tells her that she cannot torture people like this. Because of her actions, the officer arrests her and sets off for headquarters with Ava on a ship. Ava asks to go to the restroom, and when the officer accompanies her, she knocks him unconscious with a brutal punch, frees herself from the handcuffs, and jumps from the ship. Ava reaches a hotel on the shore, freshens up, and begins planning how to find Manny. She goes to the same club where she previously fought with John and sees Manny dancing with some girls. When Manny goes to the restroom, Ava follows and confronts him. She demands information about Derek, and when Manny refuses to talk, Ava tortures him. He finally admits that he doesn't know much, but explains that someone made Derek disappear before the ambulance could reach the hospital. Manny didn't come forward out of fear, but offers to help Ava find her husband. Manny takes Ava to his house where he lives with his mother. The next day, they both set out to find Derek. Manny warns Ava that the people on the island are very dangerous, so she needs to be cautious. They arrive at an illegal cockfighting club, where Manny searches for the ambulance driver while Ava waits in the car. When Ava spots the driver, Tommy, she chases him down. Tommy tries to kill Ava, but she overpowers him and demands to know what he did to her husband. Tommy claims not to know anything, but after more torture, he admits that a girl sent him a message at the hospital. They left her husband there, and when his brother came out of the hospital, he had a lot of money but wouldn't explain where it came from. Ava then uses Tommy's phone to lure Amir to their location. When Amir arrives, Ava tortures him, but he refuses to give any information. In the end, Ava kills Amir and sends him on his way to the afterlife. The next day, the officer arrests Ava for murder, threatening her with imprisonment. He accuses her of torturing a man and killing his brother, claiming she also killed her husband for his property. He tells her he's sending her to the island's most dangerous prison. Ava insists that her husband is still alive and pleads with the officer to find him, but he refuses. As the officers take Ava away, She realizes they're leading her into the forest to kill her. They stop at a secluded spot and begin digging a pit. During this time, Ava frees herself from the handcuffs and kills both officers. In the next scene, the officer is seen sleeping when he gets a call from Ava, who threatens him by saying she's in his daughter's room and will kill her if he doesn't come. The officer arrives with a gun, but Ava disarms him and demands to know why he tried to kill her and refused to find her husband. The officer confesses that years ago, he got a girl pregnant while drunk, and Dr. Kim helped him cover it up, forming a close bond between them. He reveals that Kim's hospital was where Ava's husband was taken, but he couldn't save him due to some mistakes. At Kim's request, the officer covered up her husband's death. Ava tells the officer that he hid her husband's death and tried to have her killed because he's a traitor. She offers him the choice of dying in front of his daughter or somewhere else. He chooses to die in the bathroom, committing suicide after seeing his daughter one last time. Ava then informs Manny of everything, and although she is heartbroken over her husband's death, she resolves to take revenge on Dr. Kim. The next day, Ava goes to the hospital where the receptionist had previously lied to her about Derek's whereabouts. Ava sneaks up behind her, knocks her unconscious, locks her in a car, and takes her clothes, as she was Kim's assistant nurse. Ava enters the hospital and confronts Dr. Kim, demanding information about Derek. When he refuses to talk, she tortures him as well. Kim eventually shows Ava a video of some thugs bringing Derek to him, proving that Derek is still alive. Ava is relieved and demands to know what's happening. Kim promises to explain everything, but only if Ava follows his instructions, warning her that the thugs will kill Derek if she doesn't comply. Soon after, a gangster named Peter arrives at their underground facility with Derek, and Kim keeps Ava as his assistant. Peter, attracted to Ava, gives her his number. They all proceed to the operating room, where Kim extracts bone marrow from Derek and injects it into Peter's body. Peter had cancer, and Derek's bone marrow was a match. Kim had informed Peter about Derek and arranged for the bone marrow transplant in exchange for a large sum of money. Unable to bear Derek's pain, Ava snaps, pulls out her gun, and escapes with Derek. In the hospital corridor, a gunfight breaks out between Ava and Peter's thugs, but she manages to kill them all. However, Peter catches up with them and captures both Ava and Derek. During the struggle, Ava shoots Peter in the leg, but he jumps out of the car and chases after them with his goons. Manny, guiding Ava through the location, helps them reach a spot where they escape using a flat wooden platform pulled by some children. Despite Peter's men shooting at them, they manage to escape. Manny takes Ava and Derek to his house, where he begins treating Ava after she collapses. Meanwhile, Peter arrives at Manny's house but finds no one there. Enraged, he begins searching for Ava and Derek with his goons. Ava, however, starts picking off Peter's men one by one. When Peter discovers his men's bodies, he angrily confronts Ava, and the two engage in a fierce fight. Peter attacks Ava with a knife, but she manages to turn the blade on him, cutting his throat. As the fight ends, several police officers arrive at the scene, along with the island's biggest gangster, John. John tells Ava that he'll take care of Peter and doesn't want to disturb the tourists, as the island's income depends on them. He kills Peter by slitting his throat and lets Ava and Derek go. The next day, Manny arranges a boat for Ava and Derek, and they share an emotional goodbye. Ava and Derek sail back to their home in America, where they are finally happy. And this story ends here.